follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again.
Hello, you weebs, and welcome to the Grappling with the Week, the show that brings you the hottest wrestling news and the highlights from the steamy kitchens of NXT to the gritty, fast-paced action of AEW. We talk about it all and give you a big discussion, piece of truly satisfy the hunger of the wrestling content, brought to you by Animal Week Studio and hosted by your weebs of the ring, your sexy heartbreak kids out here. Let's stomp a mud hole this week and get you right into the action. Is your boy Legendary Vash, your Latino your host for this evening of the Grappling of the Week, episode 33. And I'm excited to talk about today's discussion. We have the Saturday Night Main Event prediction because it will be one of the last shows of this year. And we also have a discussion of how the overall booking has been lately. So we'll step in. Time goes on the bottom description as always for our discussion. If you guys want to jump into the prediction, jump into our discussion of how pro wrestling is going on right now in the companies. But I'm not alone in this beautiful Grappling of the Week, the Latino Heat area that we're right now, because I'm here with my world champion, right?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and ignorant children of the Isles. What is up and what is good? It is your world heavyweight champion, Whawkins here. Gonna be your guide through all of our fun discussions here tonight. Looking forward to it. I know this is probably a long time coming with this big topic we have. I know we kept hinting at it on Monday during our Raw review, so very much excited to kind of get into that. And yeah, be sure to like the stream, subscribe, comment, chat, get it hopping out there because we're going to be dishing out some hot takes. And of course, as always, we have our genius of the mat to help us process some of these storylines going into some of these characters, kind of help us maybe dive into some characters as well when it comes to the underutilized talent that we're going to be discussing tonight. Drop, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, and it feels really nice to be here tonight because, like Whawkins said, there is definitely a big discussion here when it comes to underused talent because you always think, okay, where is this said person? Where is that said person? Oh, why is this said person here all the time? Shouldn't this other person be here instead? So it's going to be an interesting discussion once we fully dive into it. And of course, we do have Saturday night's main event this weekend, so we are going to be giving you guys our predictions as well. So overall, it should be a very fun show tonight.
Yes, chat. Like they said, it'll be a fun show. And the first thing we always get into is our version of iceberg because we have our Turnkbuckle Tidbits, and this is just to see if any of us, the hosts of the shows, have made time for any NXT, AEW, any pro wrestling, any podcasts, any stuff they have seen on the timeline. So I want to pass it on first to myself, the person that's speaking. What have I consumed? The only thing I've consumed lately is the Karrion Kross interview that finally finished. I got to check out from Chris Van Vliet. It was a really solid one. So I just, for the past couple weeks, I've been busy. Nerd Comic Con posts. Go check out Weebs of the Ring content. I'll put a prediction. There will be another clip going out this weekend, a vlog or some sort. Stay tuned for that. But I like the Karrion Kross interview. It's really good to hear. Also, really crazy wild shit. Like, for example, Karrion Kross doesn't have an ACL joint and still wrestles just like how he does. And it's just like, just small tidbits of things that you just be like, wait, my guy. And Scarlett in one of the questions, she just said that her one of the plastic things on her boobs slip off in one of the matches. And it kind of threw me off because technically that's supposed to hurt and be screamed, but you later find out that she has high pain tolerance. She don't acknowledge it, but she's like, hey, I'm just good with pain. And she was ready, went back to the surgical aspect, to fix her replacements and everything. And she just spoke hey, I was ready at the PC next week. And the doctor said, hey, well, I'm sorry, as much as you may be ready, we can't clear you because technically no matter how good you may be with high pain tolerance, you can't be here. We cannot prove it because we liability. And I'm like, I feel like that's me because I have a hypertolerance. I didn't know I had a bruise on my back until 3-4 days later that I felt pain in my back. I just didn't know until my wife told me. So when I hear wrestlers going through what other people go through, and it just seems like a professional thing, but hey, yo, is it professional? Because Karrion Kross, you not should be doing what you'd be doing with ACL joint or other stuff that he said. I believe he doesn't have a piece of his shoulder or his back, and I'm like, my guy, props to you for you do. I love one thing that I love about the podcast is that Scarlett and Carrion said they don't believe in retirement because sometimes some wrestlers, if your body tells you cool, you never know when it's the last match. But when you are a wrestler like Carrion, like he wants to do as long as he can. Like Sting, for example, this motherfucker came out in a previous show of AW like a couple weeks ago, and he had a retirement match earlier this year. So he like, hey, I'm gonna come here because it's Darby Allin. Bro, I'm sorry, I can't do with the goatee Sting. It takes me out. It takes me out.
But
It takes me out. Hey, look, it's dope. It's dope.
It looked dope. It looked dope.
It's
man.
dope.
It's old man Sting. Like
It's old man Sting.
Like old man Logan. You know,
Old man Logan. And that's why I'm okay with it. Look, we're not getting a match. We're just getting a presence, an aura. He just man is aura farming. It's dope. But it's just when I first saw, I'm like, are we dead as doing old man's thing, like old man Logan? Like that's the thing that clicked immediately. But again, I enjoy it. But just to hear Karen Cross said that like they don't believe that, which is like for me as well. When it comes to actors or people in professionals, there's no really a retirement. Like you're always gonna come back as long as there's a passion for it. So I love it that they said that I could have the resentment. The next one I was locking in, there's a few others from Chris Van Light that I was looking at, but I didn't get to finish, so I don't really have too much comments on it. I did see the Jelly Roll. That's the one I did see, the Jelly Roll, the one for 2 hours. It was with Chris Van Light talking about the pro wrestling. Yeah. With Jelly Roll. That one was really cool. Something that I didn't really expect, that Jelly Roll literally stare at the camera and be like, yo, Santi, I didn't move from the top rope. You gotta oil up. And I'm like, I didn't expect that full circle moment to come back and be like, yo, I didn't forget. So that's pretty interesting to hear and talk about. And obviously, Santi responded to that. So if you guys want to go check that out on his timeline, his own feed and everything. But I am shocked that Jade Rhodes said that he is not stressed about coming back. He wants to come back. He wants to do more. He spoke to Triple H and said, like, hey, I want to take the L. Like, I'm cool with other celebrities doing their thing and want to take the W, but how cooler would it be that I actually get the L? I've been saying that I could do this and everything, and I show out, but I could still take the O. And that's what he did. So I really appreciate the love to the game, the love to pro wrestling, the love to knowing that he even acknowledged that, hey, pro wrestling is mainstream. Back good 30, 40 years ago, we used to be made fun of it. And it was like when you saw somebody wearing like an Austin 316 shirt, a 619 shirt back in school, you was like, oh, you're one of us. You just don't say it, but you're wearing the merch, you're wearing the shirt. So that was really cool to hear from, Jelly Roll and doing his thing. So those are the two podcasts I did finish, that I did consume. I didn't really see much of NXT, but I saw a bit on the timeline of what was going on this past week. I know we spoke about it off air, but NXT, Shawn Michaels, please don't overuse the Joe Hendry, the music, the moment, the actual aura that he has. Please don't ruin it. I get it. You guys are making the meme. It's the joke of NXT in a way that they're trying to have him appear in a way. Just please don't reuse it. That's asking of a fan, because there's always the love when he comes out from TNA, NWE, and like all those moments really mean something. So hopefully you guys don't reuse it and don't ruin it. I know it's not always Shawn Michaels right there. That's just my shout out for that. And big shout out to Tatum Paxley, because she did win her W from JC James from this past Saturday. Halloween Havoc. So that's really cool to see. So I appreciate that. So I want to shout that out. That's all I got for my Turnkbuckle Tidbits. I want to pass it to Drop This Box, because I know if you have anything else to add for NXT, if you don't, but what else have you consumed? Has there been anything that you have also taken on the side from anything pro wrestling?
So with this week, I will say that NXT was probably the only thing I really took in, because obviously that weekend we had when we interviewed Ryan Colt Levy, which we should have checked out that interview, by the way. We should have checked out the shorts and everything. A lot of anime focused weekend. So anime really took over my life, which isn't a bad thing, of course. But when it comes to NXT this week, yes, like the big thing really was Tatum Paxley's celebration, because she's somebody that is very underrated. She deserves her flowers, and thankfully the company was listening and she was able to have her moment there. So I guess that's like a little tease of our conversation for later when it comes to, oh, hey, this person's doing good. Maybe give them a Snickers or something. And yeah, she actually was able to, do her thing there and everything. And then we have this whole thing surrounding um Ricky Saints moving forward. He had a successful title defense against Rick Williams, which is really nice. And it's going to be really interesting to see, how he progresses as champion and everything, and us figuring out exactly like where Trick is going to be moving forward, because I don't really think he needs to be there anymore. I feel like he's done everything at this point. I mean, you can't just keep going after titles and losing. And typically, like when you do things like this, it's normally a sign where it's like, okay, I'm going after this title one last time. And then after that, you just have the guy, either maybe step back for a little bit and then he comes back with a new goal. Or it's one of those things where it's like maybe we'll see him on the main roster, or, something along the lines of that. I don't necessarily want him with Mello right now, because this is what we've been wanting from Mello on SmackDown for a while, is to break out of his own shell. So I don't necessarily need a Trick there, and also Trick's a heel. Mello's a face now, so it doesn't really make any sense to partner them anyway. But maybe we'll see him pop up. We don't really know yet. Just up in the air really when it comes to his whereabouts. But that's basically what I wanted to shine on when it comes to NXT, which is basically those two things surrounding our world champions there, that really tells us like, okay, this is where we're going to be going moving forward. Another thing I did like is that over the weekend, a lot of people were proved wrong, because I actually thought that Izzy Dame was going to turn on Tatum, but she never ended up doing it. They actually ended up having a genuine friendship with one another and everything, and they were able to go up against. I remember they had that tag match on an NXT on Tuesday and everything, and they were able to get the job done there and everything. So I'm really liking the progression there, and just hoping moving forward we get some more people like put in line to see exactly like where they're going to be heading when all these other people moving up, because whenever you move people up, you kind of have to shift things around and see exactly what you're going to be doing next. Because once Ricky Saints is gone, okay, who's taking his spot? Once Tatum goes up the main roster, okay, who's taking her spot? And Fallon Henley and Obafemi and all these other guys and ladies, like wherever they end up going, they eventually have to shift things around. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted
Um,
to share here.
I want to follow up with your quick question about NXT. What did you think about Soruka also giving up her speed champion and not having Zardia probably defend that, since she lost the NXT title this past weekend? You think that's now they're gonna transition to have our girl Zardia finally be the main focus, not that Soruka's injured, and you think there's still a betrayal down the line?
Um, if there was a betrayal, it would more than likely be on Zarya's part, because Soul doesn't really strike me as someone like whenever she comes back to attack her, because Zarya was the one that had a reason to turn heel, because all the focus was on Soul.
Yep.
And normally when someone, kind of wants to step out of that shadow, they typically attack that person, and then they end up making their own rules moving forward. So I feel like with her gone, and of course, if she vacated the other title and, let it go, she might as well get rid of this one. There's really no point. Um,
Yep.
I feel like, yeah, this is probably the opportunity for Zarya to actually shine and see what she's going to be doing moving forward, because we have Blake Monroe as the North American women's champion right now. So I mean that's a good thing for her. Her first title on WWE, and she could probably do a lot of things for that before she eventually becomes an NXT women's champion, because I don't really see her on the main roster until at the very least uh 2027, maybe late 2026, but she needs to have a run with that main championship over there before she actually, moves up and everything. And she's a big deal, so you kind of have to put the pieces to the puzzle together if you really want to make a
Mhm.
statement when it comes to her presence there, which, she has the entrance and everything nailed down. So really nothing I'm concerned about, because she can talk, she has a personality. uh, yeah, so yeah, I definitely feel like Zarya is gonna, get all that attention on her now, because I mean, if they don't do it, I would be questioning, okay, well, this other chick's gone that you're really pushing hard, and you're not doing
Mhm.
something with this person. Like, we got to really sit down and have a conversation here and look at that magical whiteboard that they have in the back room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I guess to try to little follow up with that. if Zarya were to attack Sol Ruka within like the next couple weeks, would you guys feel like it would be too soon? Now that the reason I say that is just because like I don't know how much has come out with her injury right now, but if it's something where she's gonna have to be gone for a while, could you see Zarya attacking, Sol Ruka, in kayfabe, taking her out, and then having the comeback be after Zarya maybe gets the North American title for herself. After now she's gone on like this heel run, got the title that she needs. Because I mean, Blake Monroe's gonna have to drop that soon to get the women's title.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it could just be like kind of a role reversal now where it's just like, okay, I don't have to worry about Sol Ruka. Bet I can be the true Zarya that I can be. So would you guys, because you guys watch NXT more than me, would it be too soon for Zarya to do something like that? Or could it just be a thing where they just kind of take Sol off of TV just for a bit to deal with whatever
It
and just kind of
depends.
quietly do it?
It depends where they might go after this because the next event for they have them so it's standing not standing it's deadline in December. And so Ruka says on her post or story, she said that her goal is to be recovered and be ready for deadline by then. So it really depends how big is her injury and what are the plans for Soruka after this. Is she gonna go for the NXT title? Is she gonna be in competition for Blake with Tatum Paxton? Or is Zarya gonna take that mantle next? So it really depends where it goes. That's like it's kind of hard to tell right now where's the vision because right now we have deadline. So like it depends in the next 3 weeks who are the contenders for deadline, then I could have a better answer for that for you by then. We're gonna be like, okay, so Ruka took the break. Now we have Zarya being the main focus out of the two, or they're both there, and then we might get it, Zarya's be like, hey, I'm gonna be a Miles Morales, I'm gonna do my own thing and just drop her.
Yeah, because I mean, after making that statement, it's saying that she's going to be recovered, quote unquote, by that time. It could easily be one of those things where, like, let's say maybe she is like in kayfabe or something like that, and then they write it in a way where Zarya wants to take that opportunity instead, so she decides to take her out, or she decides to take her spot, whatever the case may be. It could easily be one of those things that they transition to, because normally by the end of the year, especially in like a November or December, you get a good indication of where things are heading when it comes to that Royal Rumble season and WrestleMania season, and then the Stand Deliver season, New Year's Evil season for NXT. So probably around that time, I would assume before the end of the year, you probably get a good indication, because I mean she definitely needs a heel turn, especially when it comes to like really showcasing like how she really feels inside. Like sure, she maybe brush it off and everything, but you just look at her and you look at her story with Soul. Not saying Soul's necessarily doing anything wrong, but you would just look at her and be like, well, this chick looks like a monster. She's very strong and everything. She looks like she could be a really vicious heel and just tear you apart limb by limb. So maybe we'll get maybe get some sort of good idea around that before the end of the year, hopefully.
Okay. Alrighty then.
And how about you, Walkers? Have you consumed anything outside of have you watched AEW this week? Did you see the results of NXT this past week as well with Impact or anything? Have any comments, or have you consumed any podcasts?
Well, if anything was to take away from my statement earlier, I haven't really consumed much other wrestling media. Kind of like what Drop said, it's kind of more of an anime weekend / video games. Still trying to get my way through Ghost of Tsushima and Pokemon and Digimon and eventually Dragon Quest, because that dropped this week. Son of a biz nacho. Anyways, my schedule is pretty tight when it comes to consuming things. But when it comes to like wrestling, I saw some AEW highlights from Dynamite last night. Didn't really seem like I missed too much. I think Samoa Joe's going to be challenging Hangman again. Fun little bit where Hangman was dressed as Tony Schiavone, like giving an interview, and he took out the ops and took out Joe and all that. So I thought that was a nice little fun bit right there. Penelope Ford is injured, so now Megan Bain's going to be teaming with Marina Shafir for the women's tag title tournament. I mean, her and Penelope weren't going to win anyways, so fine, just throw Marina in there. That's okay. It gives her something to do outside of the Death Riders. Oh, we got Blood and Guts now, so that's going to be happening. Darby Allin joining the conglomeration against the Death Riders. So I'm going to call it now. I think that's when the Death Riders are going to turn on Jon Moxley, because they've been doing like this little storyline since he lost to Darby Allin at the last event, where he's pretty much scared to lose and scared to really get hurt. Like, he's getting himself disqualified.
Who?
He's like running. This is Moxley. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. They're trying to do this, like, I guess he's like doubting himself or something. I'm not gonna lie, everybody. I haven't been really locked into AEW lately, so I apologize for kind of giving like a Cliff's Notes version of all of this. But I see what they're trying to do is like make him like just kind of second guess himself a lot, and then eventually I think this is gonna happen at Blood and Guts. The Death Riders are gonna turn on him because Claudio's been cutting some really good promos, and his in-ring work has been very intense lately. So I feel like the Death Riders are probably going to lose that Blood and Guts match to like Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, and the rest. So that in turn will make them turn on Moxley. They'll beat him down inside the cage. Thank you for coming. We'll do our thing later and on. But I mean, that's pretty much it. That all I've got for Dynamite. I mean, everything else I saw was fine, I guess. You know, we're building towards the next event, which is Full Gear. Again, have not been locked in to AEW in a while, so apologies for all that, folks. But you know what? I'm glad Vash brought up Jelly Roll, because I was going to mention this earlier.
Ooh,
He had
okay.
an Instagram post, but this was like 4 days ago.
Okay.
But, you know, Instagram algorithms like to show you things from like
Late.
days ago.
They do.
Yeah. Jelly Roll's a One Piece fan.
Really?
Yeah, he had a jean jacket on, and it said King of the Pirates, and it had a picture of Luffy, like right behind him. And guess what WWE superstar liked it? Guess who was you know how it says like one name and then
Yeah, one name and then like 300 million?
What, Ilya?
Yeah. The first name that showed up, I'll give you guys one guess. You'll never guess. Never guess. But I'll give you guys one guess.
Xavier
Vash.
Woods.
No. Drop. Who do you think it was?
Ilya Dragunov?
Oh, close, but no.
It's Sheamus.
Charlotte Flair.
Really?
She was the first name on there. It's like Charlotte Flair WWE. And I was like, all right, hold on. Let me make sure that this isn't like a fake account. Clicked on it. Yeah, it was her account. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna chalk this up as in Charlotte Flair is a secret One Piece fan. So there you go. She's now bumped up in my rankings of women's wrestlers. So thank you for that,
question.
Charlotte. That is my headcanon right now.
You said that Jelly Roll posts on where? On Twitter or on IG?
IG. It was like 4 days ago.
Because if it's on a story, I can't watch. If it's on a post,
It was not a story. If it was 4 days ago, I said I saw it today. That means it wasn't no story.
Oh, never mind. Chat. I found it. Never mind.
There,
Chat.
see, I'm
Right here, chat. Look at that.
Oh, there you go.
He was in Australia.
That looks cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool jacket.
Oh, wait. Is this Luffy from... Oh, okay. Sorry, chat. I'm getting...
Pre-time skip?
It was pre-time skip, but I think it's the Luffy from when he was in Andy's lobby, when he was mad and staring at the flag. But sorry, chat. That's a whole One Piece tangent. But yeah.
Yeah.
Dope. Jelly Roll. Fire. Nice jacket. Nice jean jacket. And wait. And there's also, for me, the first person that says likes it is Santi Zat on my end.
Okay. Interesting. Huh. Your
What?
second mention of the man.
Oh yeah,
It changes to each person.
Yeah, he does like anime.
Yeah, he doesn't like anime. Because also big shout out because he's Colombian and everything. He likes anime. I'm not sure if he reads manga, but he definitely does watch anime. And he also, I believe, mentioned it one time in the show that I saw a clip of. He also mentioned the show Lucha as well. So that's a shout out. I love that.
Good show. Other than that, I mean, sorry, folks. did not consume a lot of wrestling media outside of what we cover, so kind of a non-wrestling week. But we got some stuff to watch this weekend, which hopefully is good. Hopefully,
Yes. Hopefully it's good to
it's
talk
on
about.
Peacock exclusively.
Yeah, exclusively on Peacock and on Netflix internationally. So if you still got that VPN, we don't got a discount code or promo code, but go use that VPN wherever you got.
Yes.
But if VPN, if you want to sponsor us or get us, we do use NordVPN. So if you got a, sponsor us, we got you, my guy. We got you.
NordVPN.com/R
Weebs is ring.
WOTR
Exactly.
_FA2.
Oh, that'd be a dope one. But chat,
Yeah, no.
if you're here for what he said, that we're excited for something this weekend, we got Saturday Night Main Event. We got 4 on the card. By this recording, we got 4 on the card. The reason I'm saying this, chat, because sometimes the next day, SmackDown was to be like, we're going to add 1 more on the card. We got a U.S. title open challenge, or the other one I mentioned on the short form. The most likely one might get added is the tag team of the women division. Those are 2 possibilities that are on my end that might be added. You guys think there's a 5th one that may be added? You got a 5th one that may be added?
I doubt it.
No?
No,
Okay.
yeah, no.
Just because they have a 2-hour time limit with Saturday night's main event, and with them adding a 5th match, that's basically a PLE, and they would want to add another hour of ads at least.
Good point.
Oh,
On
So,
top
chat.
of the 20-minute match.
So let's go with it. With the first one, we have the IC title, the triple threat for the shenanigans. This is what I call this match, the shenanigans. We got the dirty ass Dominic Mysterio, who's a cheater that has been cheating for the past 3 weeks, is versing Penta, Cero, Miedo, and we got Rusev as the 3rd one. My option, like I said in the short form here, I'm gonna repeat it one more time. Anybody could go for this match, but the one I'm going for is Dominic Mysterio. You know why? It's because he could be going against John Cena for the IC title for the next couple weeks. That's just my guess. And if he's not the winner, I'm either or for Penta or Rusev. Either or of these people deserves it. Penta's been here since the start of January of the year, and Rusev has been here for the past 6 months. So I feel like any of these 2, if they do win it, deserves it. How about you, Drop? Who do you go for?
So when it comes to me, I mean, I'm probably in the same wavelength when it comes to Penta or Rusev, because I've been very vocal about this title changing hands, because it just feels like it's a prop at this point. I mean, I guess it's just something you can say in general about the Judgment Day, is that whenever they get their hands on a title, it just feels like a prop. Like, it's almost like they're going out for Halloween and they're just trying to dress up and stuff like that. And it just seems like the title's there. He gets defended when either Dom is pressured into situations, otherwise he's just walking around and doing his own thing. But we do have this triple threat match here. I would want Penta or Rusev. Either one I would honestly be fine with, but I'm just going to choose Dom because I don't really feel that confident, especially if the El Grande Americano squad around the corner. Like, you never really know what's going to be happening there as well. But it would be nice to have a new champion, but I'm just going to say Dom.
How about you, Whawkins?
I mean, it's probably gonna be Dom. I mean, if rumors are to be believed that he's gonna drop it to John here in the next couple weeks, I mean,
Oh yeah,
he's a chicken shit enough heel to have have John take it from and all that. I mean, I would rather John not take it from Penta or Rusev. I'll say that much, because that would just be kind of embarrassing for either one
Yeah.
of them to drop it so soon. But I mean, I'll say this about Dom's reign though. Like, I'm kind of on the opposite end of this drop, because at least when it comes to Dom, because at least with Dom, like with his character, he's at least defending it. Yeah, it's like after he gets pressured into it and all that, but he's at least been defending it and doing a little bit more with the IC title, rather than Finn and JD, who just sit in the back playing their Switch 2 all night long and just basically forgetting that they are champions, so but I mean, with that, I mean, I think Dom, this is gonna be the last good defense he has. Yeah, the El Grandes are probably gonna come out to interfere, because he's been doing more with them than he has the Judgment Day, which actually kind of leads into what you were talking about right there, Drop, with like them kind of not wanting to do anything or even wrestle or even defend their titles. I don't know, whatever. That'll be part of our discussion here in a little bit. But yeah, El Grandes are probably going to interfere, help Dom out. I'm hoping we get some sort of resolution when it comes to Dom working with those three, because and I mainly had this question on Monday. Why? Like, why are the El Grandes helping Dom?
Yeah, like
What's
there's no
the
reason.
benefit for them? Yeah. Like
Uh,
what is the benefit for them?
yeah, because you would think like it would just be one of those things where they get something in return, but
Yeah.
it's just really hard to tell exactly what's going on unless Dom's just
Yeah.
planning on turning on the Judgment Day as a whole. Because even at people like in the group itself that are normally with him questioning his decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Raquel. But props to Raquel. Thank you, Raquel. Stop taking his shit. But yeah, I'm going Dom. I'm going Dom here.
All right, we got our next one on the list, and it's the WWE Women's Title. Tiffany Stratton will be defending her title as champion versus Jade Cargill, who just turned heel. The reason I want to tell you, Chad, if you missed last Friday Night SmackDown, she turned heel. She turned against Tiffany, knocked her down with a clothesline, and then kept hitting her on the corner by the steps. All right, my choice, Jade, because if you're gonna have Jade turn heel, you can't have her lose the match, the next one you're building up for. We gotta have some type of prize, some type of go for it. So the most thing you gotta win is win the W. I don't think Jade should lose for the third time. She already lost twice. One for SummerSlam, and then one after, I believe, one more match on a PLE or on a Friday Night SmackDown after that for a rematch. So she already lost twice. She doesn't need a third one. If you got Jade to turn heel, do your thing. How about you, Drop?
I'm gonna say Jade as well because I mean this is something that we've been wanting for Jade for quite some time, especially to make her interesting. Because I'm sorry, like I said on Friday when we did covered SmackDown, Jade doesn't really strike me as a babyface at all. She seems like a very dominant female that doesn't take anybody's shit. That doesn't really strike me as somebody that just wants to shake your hand and give you hugs and stuff like that. Because she just looks at someone where if you like piss her off or anything, she's just gonna rip you apart. Like if you ever
Mm.
seen that one comic panel online where Iron Man gets like ripped apart from Thanos,
Oh.
that's essentially what I see with Jade Cargill when it comes to people like just really getting under her skin. So
Mhm.
I feel like you really need to benefit this heel turn for her because it could do wonders for her character, especially because it is theory crafting time when it comes to this time of the year of WrestleMania matches. And I did watch a little bit of JD's show on Monday, and he was talking about how, people are already making up their lists when it comes to Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship, which I'll actually have some words on that down below because I'm actually more for that match if I'm being honest. And
Yeah.
another thing coming to mind is Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. So if you want a super dominant heel like Jade Cargill, I mean, you could just have her do her thing until Bianca comes back because we never really got a resolution with that. So now you could dive into that. There's history there. It's not like they just bumped heads and just figured out who they were for the first time. There's actually a lot of layers to that. You could possibly, throw Naomi in there, not physically, but at least, bring her up in their segments, of course, whenever they're building to this match. But I'm trying to look at the bigger picture in the near future. And I feel like we do need a change when it comes to our women's champion on SmackDown. And I would not mind the title changing hands on this with Jade becoming the women's champion.
Mhm.
How about you,
Yeah,
Whawkins?
it's kind of got to be Jade. I mean, she just turned heel. A lot of stuff that Drop said, I do agree with. I think this is going to be the building blocks for, or at least the the next chapter when we get to Bianca versus Jade. I think that is going to be the WrestleMania match. How we get there, probably through Elimination Chamber, unless they give Bianca another Rumble win, which I mean wouldn't be too opposed to. Just but looking forward to seeing what the journey is there. But hopefully, this also gives Tiffany enough bite when she comes back from losing the title, so that way she can actually like be more of a character rather than I can definitely tell you memorized your lines before you came out here. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to throw shade like that, but I mean that's kind of how she comes across a lot of the times on her promos. Like it's stale compared to her NXT stuff. Like I remember watching some of her NXT promos and even like some of her beginning main roster promos. Like they were really good. Like she had that mean girl energy. She had that mystical aura that people like to throw around anymore when it comes to like describing something and all that. So yeah, it's kind of got to be Jade. Like, sorry, Tiffany, your time has been here, but it's about up.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
But, Chad, if you thought this wasn't not called Night of Champions, because it's not, because we have our third match that's still going with another title that could be changed. Maybe not 50-50, because it's the WWE title, Cody Rhodes versus Drew McDaddy McIntyre, Scottish Warrior. And like I said, I got a 50-50, honestly. Even my wife, I asked her, who do you think will win? She said 50-50 still. Will Drew finally get his moment that people kept saying, why did he sign a contract for another 5 years if it's not getting his big W? Or do we wait for Drew to get his bigger moment in the future at another Royal Rumble or WrestleMania? Do we give him signing in the main event? Is it too small of a crowd? Which is it? Or does Cody prevails, but people are asking, can we get more out of Cody in the future? His matches or his work or the story is getting weak. Which one would it be? Like I said, 50-50. I don't really got a choice. I would like Drew to get his moment, but then Cody, I like him as a champion. I want to do more, but it really depends what's next. Like I said, 50-50, I don't got an answer. How about you, Job? Do you have an answer better than me? Do you have a direct, solid choice?
Yeah, I'm probably going to say Cody here because as much as I would like to see Drew McIntyre as champion again, I feel like there's still a couple things we really need to get out of this second run with Cody Rhodes because we still haven't gotten him in the Orton match. And then I'll also dive in onto what I was talking about a little bit ago as well. But you can't, if the title were to swap hands, at least get that whole Randy match out of the way first, then I wouldn't mind. But it's like you can't keep, teasing us with it and then not doing anything with it because you could have got it with the first run, never happened. But I just feel like there's more on the table here because, I mean, hey, I'm just going to throw it out here because I did mention it before. I could see Randy coming in like towards the end of this match, I will say, because I feel like we will get a default winner. Cody will win his match. You could possibly have Drew McIntyre get pissed, maybe beat on him, or some shit happens. And then you have Cody out there, maybe Randy's out there shaking his hand, whatever the case may be. And then that's when you get, the heel turn on Randy Orton. Because besides title swaps, you need to have some sort of captivating angles on this show. You can't just be like, okay, Jade is a heel. She won her title. Dom did his shenanigans again, and he won his. Like, you got to leave us something to talk about. Like, okay, that some crazy stuff just happened on Saturday night's main event. Let's tune into Raw. Let's tune into SmackDown to really break this down when it comes to exactly what's going to happen beyond this point. But I'm just going to stick with Cody. I just feel like there's more on the table with him. And I don't really see him losing the title at the very least till WrestleMania.
Talk to me, Whawkins. You have a direct answer as well?
I'm gonna say this. You're both right. For one, because okay, here's the thing. It's like I would love for Drew to get his moment, yet his legit moment, not WrestleMania 40, because again, that was storyline bullshit. Again, led to a good storyline, great matches and promos and all that moments, but let's get a legit moment for Drew McIntyre, but it's not going to be Saturday, I don't think. However, the other thing that keeps coming to my mind is this whole GWTW thing, because if dirt sheets are supposed to be believed, which again, take them all the time with a grain of salt, some of them with bags or truckloads of salt, not naming any names. Anyways, when you look at those and kind of have those in your mind, you're like, okay, originally we were supposed to get Drew versus GWTW here as their number one contenders match. I mean, yeah, they were gonna have it on SmackDown, but that was gonna end up in bullshit. We were gonna get it here, leading to a possible Drew versus Cody match at Survivor Series. I have a feeling we're gonna get a no contest here, And the reason I say that
Yeah.
is because partially what you said too, Drop. We need something more from this. We know that these two can do more, especially with each other and especially on the mic. But it feels like we're doing like this almost like dancing around these subjects with these two. And we need to kind of push it along a little further. And especially with this match, I remember saying this too. I was like, if we're gonna get Drew and Cody again, we need a stipulation because these two keep attacking each other very viciously, and like it's a match, and it's a feud that really needs a stipulation added to it. And since this match got added to Saturday Night's Main Event, no stipulation was added. And I mean, Friday night can always change this. They can always add something there, and then this whole crockpot theory I'm coming up is just out the water. But I feel like, again, I think we're gonna get a no contest to kind of protect some of that storyline with, or at least character, when it comes to like Cody and Drew, and push it towards Survivor Series for a stipulation match. Because like what you could do with that too is we already know what that match is going to be at Survivor Series. We can kind of like, because you won't have to like fully promote it, or how am I thinking? You don't have to always have them on the show at that point, because then you can start building for the other things that are going to be on that show. You could do a lot of like backstage vignettes for Drew and Cody. You can have them in the ring still like cutting a promo on each other, but like if you limit their time, because we already know like some of the story going into it, you can limit their time on TV to give to whatever else they're going to put on Survivor Series, like whatever War Games matches they're doing, whatever title matches they're going to be doing for Survivor Series. Because that's the other thing. Survivor Series is one of their big 4 pay-per-views. Like, as much as people don't want to or kind of forget that, it is one of those big pillars that they have. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a big show where they're going to need to build up for a lot of other matches and all that. So I think if they just continue on with Drew and Cody like that, I think they'll have something good on their hands. Plus WWE nowadays kind of does that anyways. I'm trying to think of one, because it was just recently too that they started doing that shit with. And it was a Cody match too, but again, memory Swiss cheese even when it comes to the short form and all that, or short term, excuse me. But again, I'm going no contest, where it's like,
Makes
but
sense.
that's basically my rambling reasons behind it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good reasoning.
Yeah, that
Like
may
all three of us are having a hard time
Yeah.
to kind of make the definitive answer.
yeah, that makes
Mhm.
sense too. That actually no, we're about to get into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
Chad,
yeah.
like I said, this could be the night of champions, because you know why? We have 4 title match in this Saturday Night Main Event, and it is for the vacant. Yes, you heard it here clearly, for the vacant world title belt for Monday Night Raw. Right now, we have CM Punk could have been versus LA Knight, but no, we have CM Punk versus Jay Main Event Uso, and my vote is CM Punk. This is my straight answer. I have a 90% of CM Punk. The 10% is what possibly could be Jey Uso because of shenanigans, Jimmy, somebody doing some bullshit. But I'm hoping there's no shenanigans. Hopefully, this is a straight match. CM Punk versus Jay, and CM Punk wins. Drop. Talk to me, because I see what you got in the document. Speak to me.
So I'm gonna say CM Punk because it's really hard to convince me what this is gonna make. It's gonna be really hard to convince me like what makes this special for Jey Uso this time becoming champion. Because around the WrestleMania season, that was the moment. It's really hard to replicate that. Maybe you could do it if you do something special, but it's really hard to replicate one at a time things. Kind of like when Cody won his title at WrestleMania. That was a really big moment. Even the passing of the torch moment in SummerSlam was pretty good too. But it's like, when it comes to this, I mean, I'm going for Punk. I feel like if I were to choose one between the two, it would be him. He's the one that makes sense. But there's also a possible scenario I could see happen. So we have the bronze, and it's really hard to move past this, because why would they let, Punk or Jey Uso win the match after they had a lot of issues with just giving the title up to begin with? Like, you don't just make a statement like that on Seth Rollins and then have him, get taken out, they vacate the title, and then, oh, are we going to be in the battle royal? Sorry, you're not in it. And then just have them just sit back and watch the show at home. Like it's just so hard for me to see them not get involved here. And I feel like it could honestly give us a no contest as well. Similar to what Watkins said about the previous match. I could see a no contest here because it's just really hard for me to accept them just being okay with this. Like, yeah, Punk, have the title. Yeah, Jay, have the title. Like, no, I can't see Braun with that kind of mindset. I can't see Bronson Reed with that kind of mindset. I can't even see Paul Heyman with that kind of mindset because that's their target on Monday Night Raw, that world title. They're not going to want those two guys that they have thousands of problems with have that. So I can easily see them getting involved here. No contest happens, and then they figure out what they want to do at Survivor Series or whatever. But also, another thing I do have to say when it comes to my Punk thing, if this was just a Punk and Seth match, I would have been okay with Punk going over, only because to me, when it comes to this title at least, I feel like it means more if Punk beats Seth Rollins for this title. Just because of the story behind that. If he beats Jey Uso for it, it's kind of like it feels like it's above him, if I'm being 100% honest. And this is no disrespect to Jey Uso. I just feel like Punk is above this, and it's kind of like you're just a shrug of the shoulders when it comes to this kind of match, too. And if you were to really have Punk in a high profile match to really do something with, it's like I said earlier, you want to really start throwing things in the pot and mixing it up. You could have him and Cody at WrestleMania next year, and he could have his moment there where he wins the WWE title. That's just basically the whole roadmap I have planned out.
I like that role, man. How about you, Walkers? What's your map for this match?
You don't want to see my map because it's all over the place when it comes to a lot of things. Because I thought about that Braun thing too. I was just like, okay, Braun's, they don't like, they're obsessed with that title too, but they didn't get a chance to be in this match. And then, because I had a similar thought too, like, okay, what if they broke it up into a no contest? But then I just keep remembering back to Monday where Paul Heyman was basically being a little bit more wary than he normally is, and like actually telling Braun Breaker, he's just like, yeah, we could do that, but Adam Pearce is actually kind of being serious about a lot of things, and he will make it his life's mission to make sure neither of you get any title opportunity, no matter what. So that's my only fear with like them making that a no contest. And plus, like, it leaves Raw without a world champion, at least for a little bit longer. And if rumors are to be believed, those four guys are at least going to be involved in War Games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll have to see where all that goes to. But like with that though, like I'm also kind of 50-50 too, because like, or maybe not 50-50, maybe more like 65-35 will go. So in Punk's favor, by the way, because I feel like with Punk holding that, it'll be a much bigger moment for whoever takes it off of him. Hopefully, Braun Breaker at that point. That's kind of where my mind's leaning towards, like Punk holding that title, or even when Seth comes back, maybe he takes it from Punk and finally gets that W on him. That it could always lead to that, but I'm kind of also with you, Drop, where it's just like the more enticing match for his big moment is winning that WWE title, and especially from Cody, because we've had the seeds planted for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and pull the trigger with that one,
Yeah, because I just feel like these past two Royal Rumbles, especially, they've been teasing so many stuff between the both of them. Like the first moment, and then earlier this year when you had the show go over a bit, where Cody was talking slow, almost like he kind of felt like he was just very selfish at that point. The way that his mind was. So it's like you're throwing all this stuff at us. You're showing how well they can work together. It just makes me want it even more the more you tease.
Yeah. And I mean, there's still a part of me that thinks Jimmy's gonna cost Jay.
Yeah. Definitely possible.
There's still a part of me because yeah, just because like the story that they're pushing with like this little Roman basically, but like, and the only way I can see Jay winning, and this is where that 35% is if he cheats to win, because
It's true.
we keep teasing this like heel turn, and even Punk said it on Monday. It's just like, are you willing to go to the limit? Like, are you willing to do what you absolutely need to in order to beat me for this title? And that's just red flags for cheating right there.
Oh yeah.
So if Jay wins, it's because of that. But I don't know. There's still just something in the back of my head because, like, with Jimmy costing Jay the world title again, we see a different. We kind of recontextualize what happened at SummerSlam. What, in 2023? I think it was. Yeah, when Jay fought Roman and Jimmy cost him there. I mean, the reason's still basically the same, but it's kind of the roles reversed, where it's like, instead of the heel turn on Jimmy, it's more like we can see more of what he was talking about back there, whereas it's like, I'm trying to save you from being like this corrupt being when you have the world title and all, because like that's one thing that WWE is hearkening on, is just like, yeah, you always want to chase the title, you want to be the top of the mountain and all that stuff, but that comes at a very, very heavy price, because having that kind of power, having that like throne, eats at you, and it gets you like, it basically makes your ego turn Super Saiyan. Like, you basically get a super ego at that point, and you turn into freaking Seth Rollins, just like having the crowd sing to you and all that, or Roman Reigns trying to aura farm every time he makes an entrance and all that. So I don't know. Again, my head's just like abound with like how the match can go and where it could go, but I'm still sticking with Punk. I think him
Yeah.
holding the title will just mean more for whoever takes it off of him after all that. And then go and face Cody, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree 100% that. This is great predictions, great path on the map. If your door explore, hey, find me in the map. Where do we go in that direction? Never thought I'd be using a transition with Dora, but here we are. Hey,
There you
you
go.
guys heard our prediction. You guys heard our turnbuckle tidbits. 2 segments of the show. Now we got the third one. Is what we got is the hot topic, the underutilized talent. But I'm gonna pass this to Drop This Box, says he's gonna lead this charge of conversation for our show. So Drop, talk to us.
So basically, if you're new to our shows, when we have the hot topic, it's basically like the part of the show that we're going to spend a lot of time with, really breaking things down when it comes to what that said topic is. And today we're going to be talking about underutilized talent. And I know that's a topic of conversation that goes on every single day when it comes to WWE or AEW. I'm just going to mention both of those companies because those are the 2 big companies in the game right now when it comes to overall presentation, because we want our certain favorites on the screen, but unfortunately, maybe they'll make an appearance twice a month and then you never see them again. And then you have those other people that just get shoved in your faces when they have over 10 titles on them, where they just need to just have all of that glory. And basically, this is just something that really needs to be discussed when it comes to how we feel about this, because the 3 of us do have our own opinions when it comes to this. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us are on the same ballpark when it comes to how things should be represented in the company. So I don't really think anything's going to be that different. Obviously, we do have certain people that we want to be seen push a little bit more. But I guess the first thing to really dive into when it comes to this, like the all-around discussion revolving like how talent in all companies are used. Like, are some used too much more than others? Like, I'll give you an example, and you probably knew exactly who I was talking about when I mentioned 10, and I'm not talking about Ty Dillinger or Sean Spears or anything. Basically, I'm talking about Mercedes Moné when it comes to AEW. Am I a fan of her as a wrestler? Sure, because I'm a big fan of the Bayley versus Sasha match that pretty much would help revolutionize women's wrestling. That's basically what put it in the stratosphere to be where it needs to be. But I will say, when it comes to their division over there, if you want to talk about divisions, we could talk about the women's division in AEW. It just seems like it's always the same people with titles. It's either Mercedes or Tony Storm. And I'm not putting Tony Storm in the category of being shoved in your face, but it's basically like we got to really start scrambling things up a little bit. We got to start putting other people out there. I mean, Athena is in Ring of Honor. You could easily be utilizing her on the main roster. When it comes to AEW, that's a talent that a lot of people really want in the whole women's division in AEW when it comes to actually being a reoccurring face that you see every single week. Not just, oh yeah, I'm going to go to said company. I'm going to win this title. I'm going to win that title, all those different things there. So, Watkins, like, what do you feel like when it comes to like what I mentioned, or just basically like, I guess if you want to shed some light on like the AEW's women's roster when it comes to those singles titles, like it just seems like it's always the same people. As of recent, of course, Chris Statlander was able to win the women's title and everything, but before that, it just seems like it was always the same people all the time.
Yeah, I think part of this too is kind of we need to have a discussion about the long title reigns, which don't get me wrong, I like to have a title reign that lasts a good while, like a few months or anything. But we've gotten to this point where like we're getting on these almost a whole year run with these titles, like. And I mean, I'll bring WWE into all this. It almost
Yeah.
feels like anytime the WWE title's involved, it only has to be dropped, or it only can be dropped at WrestleMania.
Yep.
And it feels very weird because it almost feels like, you're expecting that drop at WrestleMania. Like I really don't remember, besides like SummerSlam this past year, I really don't remember the last time the WWE changed hands outside of a WrestleMania. When part of that is because Roman had that title for so long. He won it at WrestleMania. He held it for the next like few WrestleManias after that. And then what happens at 40? He drops it to Cody. And Cody holds on to that thing until WrestleMania 41, drops it to John, and then John dropped it at SummerSlam, which is basically the summer version of WrestleMania. So you kind of get into this almost routine when it comes to WWE title. And when it comes to like the women's titles on AEW, it's not necessarily the same case because AEW is at least a little bit more spontaneous when it comes to like title changes and doing things a little bit more like surprising, I guess. So, like for example, you mentioned Chris Statlander. I don't think anybody had Chris Statlander picking up the women's title in our Lord's year of 2025. But which congratulations to her. She does deserve it. She put in a lot of work for it. It just came out of left field, because Tony Storm had such a grasp on that title for so long, and then she just drops it in a 4-way, and then she lost her rematch for it. So then we get into Mercedes Money, who's only holding on to that DBS title right now, so that way, and I think by now she's surpassed Jade's
Yeah, she did.
number, if I'm correct.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's passed Jade's record, which means, okay, time's ticking when you're dropping that TBS title. Because, like, I get the idea behind her being a belt collector and all that, but the anticipation is starting to kind of get a little up there because I'm ready for like the downfall part of it, because like that's all this story part is with when it comes to Mercedes, is just like building her up so that way the fall is just like crashing. But see, that's just the thing. It limits that title from being held by anybody else to build other stars in their company. So like you kind of limit your options when it comes to contenders for the titles and all that. So like, yeah, once she drops that, I think everything will be fine. But the other downside to it is Mercedes and Tony are both in this tag team title tournament for the women's tag team titles. And you have Mercedes teaming up with Athena, who's also on a very historic run with a women's title and all that. And the only downside with Athena is unless you're a very hardcore wrestling fan, and I mean very hardcore, not many people are watching Ring of Honor. Let's be honest. Like, not many people are catching the show. Like, I don't know. They still do the weekly shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, see, even the team is just like, yes, question mark in parentheses.
I don't see it as
Maybe?
consistent as it used to be.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be advertised, but I don't see it as consistent as it used to be. Maybe it happens
Yeah.
and nobody talks about it, which that's not
Yeah.
also good.
And I mean, I know the big shows happen. I always hear about those and all that, but like that's just the thing. You don't really hear much about it. And now they're finally starting to use her on AEW programming more. It's like, okay, good start and all that, but like if her and Mercedes win the tag titles, then you get even more of an issue where it's just like, okay, well now these two women that are on these historic runs, you've given them the inaugural championships that they're going to end up having to lose anyways. So one of those two is going to have to end up eating the pin. And no matter who ends up eating the pin, there's going to be angry people online regardless. No matter what any company does, people are going to be pissed regardless. But like I still feel like that limits the talent that you'll be able to showcase a little bit, because again, if they keep going on these dominant reigns just as singles competitors, as tag competitors, how am I going to take any tag team seriously when they can't even beat the person in a singles match? Like I don't know, it just kind of takes me away from it a little bit. That because I prefer my characters to have a little bit of what's that word, imperfection. You know,
Yeah.
I like my characters to have some flaws to them, so that way they can actually grow and all that. But again, I understand what they're doing with Mercedes. It's just I'm ready for the downfall. But uh, hopefully that kind of answered your question, because again, like that AEW has a very strong women's division. It's just kind of being blocked right now by these long title reigns. And I mean, you could say the same thing about men's divisions, especially in WWE standards, because some of those guys need to drop some of these titles or like move on or do something more with it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that completely. Vash, do you have any like thoughts that you want to share on this when it comes to what me and Whawkins spoke about? Because I know you definitely have some thoughts that you want to share as well when it comes to this.
We have complained about this for the past year, or the reason for it. Yeah, that be forgetting on kids don't watch our content consistently. We've been saying since Weebs of Ring first started, and the reason why I got found is because to really preach and have a discussion about the current era in pro wrestling and the booking and everything. And that's one of the biggest things that we question. For example, fucking Judgment Day is one of the biggest question of the booking on a weekly basis since the past 3-4 months. The booking from Judgment Day, we keep hearing that the tag titles have been defended only once out of 100 days. Those are things that we'll get pissed about, because look, Finn Balor and JD McDonough, they're not on a Roman Reigns schedule or on a Roman Reigns type of high attitude of stock. So why the fuck are you guys only defending your title one time out of 100 days? Like, that's the question in the booking. We even act like, hey, Chad Gable, where are these other superstars? If they're injured, cool, understandable. We as an audience can know because of booking or because of storytelling. But like, questioning of Ivy Nile, the Creed brothers have been seen, and we have questioned with a lot of these characters that should be getting more recognition but haven't been getting the spotlight they should be, that should be getting deserved. We have asked WWE like, hey, we're the Creed brothers, where this tag team division is supposed to be solid, but we have the same rotation of the same 4 people being shown on the same show, where it's called main roster, but out of 20 superstars, we are only seeing 8 on a consistent basis. Like, that's the type of booking that I'm not okay with, or I want more spotlight that should be deserved on these characters.
Yeah,
And that's one of that's my highlight or my biggest gripe in the current roster WWE or NXT. Like, for example, people have been complaining about Carmelo Hayes or Zardia has been on NXT since Halloween Havoc of 2024. That's when she first premiered. So now it's been a full year that she's been on the roster, and she hasn't gotten a title, but other girls have. Not even Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace hasn't got her her own NXT North American title or NXT main title. Not even people have been complaining about Lash Legend, who should be getting more star power, more stock, but has been very down the hill since WrestleMania of this past year, or Stand and Deliver. So those are the questions that I've been asking more, like, hey, these superstars been getting pushed, but what's going on? Is there any type of political aspect behind the scenes, or is it just what are we not seeing as fans?
Yeah, and that also like leads us to the next thing, really, like how does this affect the investment level with the talent and the titles and everything? Because it's like you said before, you got a lot of people on Raw that are considered tag teams, at least I would hope so, and they don't really get that sort of like spotlight where they can actually showcase who they are, and then talent end up getting benched, which is in term of wrestling, which basically means, oh hey, where'd you go? And I mean, we haven't seen the Crude brothers in forever. I know they're a very good tag team because I've seen what they were capable of on NXT. And I thought it was going to be like an easy way to just throw them in there and they can just really help elevate that division because they were a very, very dominant force. So I was very curious to see how things were going to turn out with them. They're non-existent. The stuff that they did with Gable didn't really go anywhere. That's another one you can throw in there as well. You had this whole thing with Chad Gable and Otis. You could have really did something with that. You could have gave Chad Gable the title. You could have done a lot of things like that, but you just kept waiting it out over and over and over again. And then that just affects the investment where it's like, do I care about these tag titles anymore? Do I care about Chad Gable? Do I care about Otis? Do I care about the Creed brothers? Do I care about all these people that I really want to see actually go somewhere anymore if they're not really getting the representation that they need? Like, I want a lot of people to hop on the Roxanne bandwagon when it comes to who she is because she's a very good talent and she could be a very strong heel for them. But it's like the way that they treat her at times, of course, it's getting a little better, but not much. It might end up affecting like how people view them on the main roster because that's where you get the most eyes. Sure, people who tune into NXT know who those people are, but it's like on the main roster, that's basically where they get their make it or break it moment. Like, look how long it took Carmelo Hayes to get to the position that he needs to be over like 2 years now to get where he needed to be. That's sad because you could have saw what Sean was doing in NXT and you could have just brought that onto the main roster and you could have done the same thing. I don't understand like why things end up this way, but it really does affect how people view the titles where they just stop caring about them. And then as much as you hate to say, you get super invested in one person at one point and then all of a sudden you just stop caring because it's like this person's losing matches, they're not on TV anymore. And then when I do see them, you kind of question yourself, do I even care about them?
Yeah. Agree. Like,
oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, to add towards that, like that reminds me about, like, as you mentioned, Wes Lee, Dijak as well from NXT. Those are characters that I really adore, and they really knew how to wrestle in the ring, but they also knew how to portray a story within the ring, like Dijak has done. He has literally a 5-star match with, I believe, Wes Lee and a few others. And a lot of people had commented on Dijak. Even, for example, Wes Lee. I was honestly hurt. This man was my Brawley. This man was my Brawley in fucking NXT. This man had the green. This man had the aura. This man had the anime love. He had the good character work. Even when he had the character work with his crew, I'm drawing blank on their name. The infectious, the weirdos, the scrappies.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I'm blanking on the name right now. So just yeah.
But that's why I could, like, it just sucks when you see somebody great, like, for example, like, Ricochet, who I really enjoy. His AW is he's doing his own thing, but even the booking is like questionable. Like, hey, he felt hurt. Like, hey, people coming from NXT are taking my spots. I've been here longer. those things are normal. I love Ricochet for what he does. I love the spots he did, but people, the producers, they didn't see him as main event talent. There's nothing you could do. I'm not the one paying the bucks. I'm not the one that's had the investment in stock or nothing like that. So like it just hurts when you see the superstars that deserve more. Like for example, we didn't mention Carmelo Hayes. We mentioned the open challenger, from Sammy. Look what that did. Sammy kept putting open challenges. Great. It put the superstars there. Now it's Dragunov is going to continue that. Hopefully, it shows other superstars in their in-ring work. Because guess what? Once one belt is doing something great, the reverse of that, the women's, it's just fucking backstage segments and just used as a prop because Gilia, who is meant to be a huge star, was in NXT, worldwide star around the fucking world, is not getting that treatment as a U.S. winner, belt champion. Why are you not?
Yeah, and that's what just kind of sucks too, because like, and I've said this multiple times, because like when you look at the number of talent that they have, and this is mainly towards the women's division, but don't worry, the men's division is slowly turning into this as well. If you look at like just the sheer number of like the women both on Raw and SmackDown's like bare bones with what they've got, at least number wise, and that leads to not a lot of contenders for your titles, like your US title, like your tag titles. At least those are floating, so I'll at least give you somewhat of a pass. But I mean, even still, tag teams are almost dead in WWE, which why? And then your women's championships and all that. So like, yeah, just in terms of like just the number of talent, you're not working with too much, and like the male talent too is slowly getting to that. I mean, yeah, we're bumping some people up, but like as much as I love to see Penta, how many times have we gotten Penta versus Dom this year? I feel like we've gotten it at least 3 times.
Yeah, it's almost like you're watching the same episode on repeat when you're trying to watch something if you're sitting on the couch.
Yeah. And it's very hard to like talk about the product when it's just like what Job said, it's on repeat every single week. Like, yeah, they're great talent. They put on the moves, they do the same spots over and over again. It's like, okay, can we do something new? That's why, thank you for doing the triple threat at least, as kind of predictable as that was on Monday. I mean, again, if you guys just go back to my notes, not even paying attention to this match because I know how it's going to end. You shouldn't have your fans and audience feel like that.
Yeah,
and I get it. Different atmosphere when you're there. Whatever, I don't care. I'm at home.
I think I could compare, like for example, Latino Heat. My boy Eddie Guerrero, the father of Dom, he did the same the shtick, but he did it different every week or every time he used it. When it comes to Dom, he's changing it, but it feels the same because it's the same result. When it comes to the hammer and the bull, the hammer to 619, trying to get the bell, trying to get the steps. So like everything feels like the same result, but feels different. And it just sucks. Like going back to Karen Cross' interview, is that he gives these great ideas, but they don't go with his ideas. It's because the writers are the ones that are getting paid. We should go with the writers' idea because that's why you hire them. So even if the wrestlers, the superstars, are giving good ideas, sometimes they don't choose it because the writers are the ones that also have to be like, hey, we're giving better ideas or not. So like that's my worrisome, that sometimes now some superstars or not give great ideas, but it's not getting executed well because we don't know.
Well, part of it is it just feels like WWE's just, and I mean this is mainly a WWE conversation now. It just feels like they're so afraid of trying to just do something different.
Yeah, agree.
Because here's the thing: if Triple H really didn't give a shit about what people thought, he'd do whatever the hell he wanted. But the fact that they keep playing it safe like this means that they are worried about that. They are worried about that criticism. But the thing is, you're getting criticized anyways, and you're just being deaf to it all. Like, you could be doing so many things. How many pitches have each one of us given just in the past year of things that they could be doing? And not saying, oh, you should do it, but hey, we're just 3 guys on the East Coast, basically, of America, coming up with better ideas than your writing room right now. Like, what are you doing with that? And we're at least trying to use the talent that you have to your at your disposal right
Yeah.
now. And it just kind of sucks because like when you kind of take a step back and try to look at it in like a business aspect, is like, okay, you got your talent that are basically your ambassadors. So I would throw like Natalia in there, for example, because like she's not used on TV as much, but she's going to like these indie events. She's being this Natty Neidhart character out there,
Yep.
and she's kind of getting, as much as the WWE doesn't really need the WWE name out there, it's
Exposure.
still, yeah, it's still exposure, it's still advertisement, it's still just like getting out there and also kind of scouting talent too. Another version of that as well. But like so you have your talents that are out there for the ambassador roles. You have your talents that do like the dark matches, so like the main event stuff. So one that sticks in my head, freaking, I think it was Los Garza versus the Street Profits on main event. First of all, why are the Street Profits on main event? How dare you? But that's a whole
Agreed.
other topic for all that. No, actually, no, that is what the
That is the topic. I said
What
that
the
is the
hell are we
topic.
doing? What the
Street
hell are we
Profits-
doing with the Street Profits? Why are they on main event? But like that's
Also,
what I'm
the
getting
White
at.
Six. The White Six as well.
Yeah.
Still has the titles,
Yeah.
but we haven't seen the Street Profits or the White Six in their last 2-3 weeks as the
And that-
title holders
and
on
that-
SmackDown.
No, we've seen them. They just haven't defended them.
Yeah.
but-
defended or done
yeah.
much with it. We've seen background, them staring at
Yeah.
people from like 25 feet back, 100 feet in the camera.
Nakamura.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're not seeing them actively
And
like, hey,
that's-
Street Profits, where's the Street Profits promo? I want to
Yeah.
see, we're going to put the SmackDown on the lowdown.
And I might as well transition into this next that I was just thinking of in the top of my head. Like,
Yeah.
there's also another thing where it feels like they're afraid to take risks as well when it comes to utilizing certain talent. Like you brought up the Street Profits. A name I'll pluck out of there is Montez Ford, because Montez Ford is very charismatic. He has the entrance. He's a very good wrestler. He basically has everything to really be a main event star. And he's shown on multiple occasions that he's able to, take the ball and run with it, but they haven't really done anything with it. So it just feels like really awkward the way that they're doing things. And if you didn't treat Maxine Dupree as a meme, maybe I would have taken her a lot more seriously when it comes to where she needs to be too. I mean, you throw all these people opportunities and then you tease all these different things, but you never really go like all the way with it. Like there's just so many more things you could do. Because the way I look at it is like they always have to be cautious because you never know when injury happens. Something could happen to Cody or Punk or whatever the case may be. Or if it comes to the women's side of things, it could be like, let's say, Io Sky's gone, Rhea's gone, Asuka's gone, all these other people that are really in the top of the card are gone. This is your opportunity to create new stars so they can easily fill those spots so you don't have to worry about any of these things. And then because of that reason, they just keep getting pushed to the back of the line. It's like, you could be making so much money. Like there could be like so much potential right there in front of you if you only chose at that moment to actually make a wise decision and actually push that said talent. Like what is there like any people that you've noticed you could expand on, names that I mentioned as well that they've teased before? This doesn't have to be strictly WWE, but like AEW as well. Like actually I'll bring up one. Daniel Garcia. When it comes to him, he was very charismatic. He was good. I'll say he was, good in the ring and stuff like that. But it's like you have this whole thing where he finally wins a title, but you don't really take the ball and run with it. So it's like all that stock that not only the company had on that person, but also the fan as well, which explains the moral between the talent and the fans. They start getting disconnected. Like, what is your guys' thoughts on not just the Daniel Garcia thing I mentioned, but just basically everything that I mentioned as well when it comes to the untapped potential and just everything like that? Are a couple of names that you've noticed that are on the top of your head, and it could be different from me, Vash, and Whawkins, of course, that you would like to see a little bit more of.
Yeah, Chad,
I mean,
please chime in
I,
as well.
Yes.
I think I think when it comes to AEW, and I mean that it kind of sucks because this also kind of has a little asterisk with it as well. But when it comes to AEW, Wardlow's like the top of my list
Oh
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like he should have been way up higher on the card like 3 years ago, but that whole mix up with like MJF and the plane, that whole shit. And then just like the mountain of injuries that he got. Hell, he came back and he got injured. Like, what the hell is that, dude? But like anytime he does come back, they always like hold off on just pushing him. When like, I'm sorry, next time he comes back, just freaking push the guy. Like, just strap the rocket on him. Either that or just get rid of him.
Yeah.
Like at that point, like let him just go somewhere where he can actually kind of be utilized a little bit better. But like, I mean, AEW, I mean, we saw that a lot with people. I mean, Ethan Page was one, Ricky Saints was another. Like, we saw both of those two guys, how they ended up in AEW, how upset they were with it. Hell, even Penta and Ray Phoenix to an extent. And say what you want about like their runs currently, especially Ray Phoenix. But they were at least unhappy with where they were at. They jumped the ship and all that, and they're being utilized a bit better than they were over in AEW. And I mean vice versa as well when it comes to talent. Like I'm gonna throw out Bobby Lashley. Like look at one of his final matches in WWE, especially with the Hurt Business. It was that WrestleMania match with Karrion Kross and AOP.
Yeah, Final
Why?
Testament.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why was that? And they even lost that match, I think. Which I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong, I love that Karrion won that. Which again, another underutilized talent, but cool, great. Thanks a lot, WWE, for that. But like at the tail end of Bobby Lashley's run in the company, they weren't really using him as best as they could. I mean, this guy's a former world champion for you guys, and he's got the look, he's got it. Yet you're not pushing them to what they could be or what they should be. Jump over to AEW, it's just like, yeah, him, Shelton, and MVP are kind of running the tag team division, but that's the thing. They're running a tag team division. They're actually kind of elevating that division just a little bit and all that. And like, yeah, they're kind of cool heels and all that stuff, but that's just the thing. They're being used more. They being used to their utmost potential, or not yet though. Not yet though. I'll take that utmost out of there. They're at least being used for their potential. Greatness will come. That world title and Bobby Lashley is going to look really good when he gets it, but they're at least being used to elevate others around them and like actually put on some good matches where the booking and having multiple matches with the same people, whole other whole other conversation to have when it comes to like how long rivalry should really go, but whatever. Yeah, it's just knowing the talent that you had. And this actually kind of ties in well with what I was talking about earlier, where like you have like these different roles for your talent. And it's something that we don't get to see as fans. Like we'll see like the outside part of it. Like, oh, we're seeing, I know I keep using Natalia for this, but like we keep seeing, Natalia at Bloodsport and all that, or like Pete Dunne doing something in like one of the UK divisions or something. Like they're at least being spotted in different areas. And we even saw or got reports that Candice LeRae was learning to produce matches. Like she had produced that match on Main Event with the Street Profits. So everybody's kind of learning something. They're being put in different positions. So us being fans, we only see what we see on the TV. And that's where the problem lies. Is some of these people are good. They are TV ready. But for some reason, WWE just doesn't want to do anything more with them. You brought up, Carmelo Hayes earlier and Roxanne Perez. They are great examples to use for all this because you had that awesome best of 7 series with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. Where does that go? Well, one of them left the company. The other one just got stuck in a shitty tag team with The Miz. Roxanne is now the fall girl for the Judgment Day. Like, and I'm not even gonna put her in the JD role. She's below the JD role. Like JD, like has at least been able to get time to show
Yeah.
out a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
see that match with Sheamus this past Monday.
Yeah.
There you go.
He deserved more.
But
People have
Mhm.
even shouted out JD. He deserves an IC title run in the future.
Yeah.
Like, he deserves good.
I agree.
Even when he hurt his ribs, people were like, "Oh my God, JD is such a good superstar. He knows how to work well with everyone." Cool. People talk so highly about him. Put him in your spot. Even a big shout out to Apollo Crews. People keep forgetting he was still signed by the company until they finally let him go. And people are like, "Wait, is he on to our main event?" Like, yeah, you would literally see this man, Apollo Crews, versus the whole mid-card division on main event for a good year. And that man was such a good workhorse, and they released him. It's like, yo, where's your mid-card division? Because at this point, there's no mid-card division in AWE because they keep letting people go. It's only like 5 people.
Yeah.
At that point, make them into the main title where you have a whole 10 or 12 people at least. At least have those 3 or 4 people as jobbers. At least have them do some cool stuff on the ring. But if you're not, then what's the point? Like, mid-card division, you should have at least 10 people on a rotating. Where are they?
Yeah, and also, like, when it comes to like this whole draft thing that they do, they need to they need to stop. Like, I'm not even talking about like the whole like draft itself. I'm basically just talking about NXT in Pacific. Don't draft people from NXT if you're not going to utilize them, because it just seems like a waste of space, and you should have just left them down there. Because I mean, 9 times out of 10,
who was it that got signed this past year? Got moved up, I think, or last year, and then they got let go. I believe it was Dijak, right?
Yeah,
he got moved to Raw, and then they didn't know what to do with him. Then they just let his contract go, right? It was one of man. I remember I was sad about that.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like if you don't have a plan for them, just leave them where they are, and they can just have their fun there. Because for the most part, they're just doing a lot more there to begin with. This is just like an ongoing issue, and yes, we can continue to talk about it and everything, but it's like at the end of the day, it's not going to really change. As much as we want to be vocal, as much as we want that said change, I can't really sit here and say that I'm 100% confident that it's going to happen, because they have their favorites. Even though we see things a lot different than they do, they're just going to go with however they want to structure things. If it's like, okay, this person gets merch, let's push them. Yeah, this other person might have been a better wrestler than them. Like JD McDonough, he's a better wrestler than Jey Uso, but because of how popular Jey Uso is, because of the merch thing and everything like that, he's obviously going to get boot instead of really being in that high of a position. Like, there's just a lot of pillars that you could easily construct if you want to have a good main event scene, mid-card scene when it comes to the men and ladies, all ends, and the tag division and everything. Like, it's just so easy. The pieces are there. Like, even AJ Styles, like, he's a great wrestler. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I feel confident in saying that because he is. I even feel indifferent when it comes to how he's being positioned. Like, I'm glad he's had his moments with.
Oh, I believe we lost Whawkins. Well, Whawkins, I hope you're good. I hope you come back. My apologies, chat, for the layout. Stay tuned for that. But until then, I will say this: when it comes to the fans and the morale, like for example, chat, we didn't get the most recent to really talk about this, but they finally released the teaser that's been going along with the aspect of Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. They teased this. People was not happy. Why the fuck do we got Brock Lesnar in this? People was not thrilled to understand, hey, why do we have Brock Lesnar as the front and center of the poster? Why is he that hype? Was he actually there? People were saying, yo, is that him or is that AI? That's the big question. So, like, my thoughts when it comes to I'm mixed on this because, for example, Brock Lesnar, we kind of have the flip side on him, right? We already have discussed it when it comes to us and the community. However, when we come to Cody, Roman, CM Punk, where's Seth? Why is Paul Heyman there? Is it the battle of who's going to have Paul Heyman? Cody is right there with Paul. Is Cody going to be hunting Paul next year? Where's all the superstars that could be sitting this? People, hey, like in my head, I feel like these posters are great, but then you have where's the woman in this? Where's the Rhea Ripley? Where's the Io Sky? Where's the other ladies also promoting WrestleMania for this already? So I don't know, like for the fans, for the wrestlers, it's right now on a thin iceberg, is what I would say. How do you feel about this drop as well?
I would have to agree because like I can understand those certain names because I mean they're there for a reason, but like somebody like Brock Lesnar, for example, they had their time all those years ago, and he had his comeback when he returned when John Cena lost at that WrestleMania that one year. Been around ever since, but sometimes when you over push someone, people just aren't gonna like it. Like it needs to feel natural. Like kind of like how the thing is. Like I understand they have a certain agenda they want to follow when it comes to like pushing talent because they really want them to get out there. But it's always best to really pay attention to the
I'm all
reactions.
gas, no brakes tonight.
But it's always best to pay attention to like the sort of reactions that the audience give you when it comes to how they feel about whenever somebody's out there, because that would be a way to really start changing things up and actually putting them there in a spot where they really need to be. Because if you look at it, how was it Roman Reigns all those years ago? The way they were pushing him, he was just over pushed. Nobody cared for him. There was a lot of hate for his character until things, took a change. He went heel because a lot of people said, hey, we get you trying to push this guy. Maybe do something a little bit different and head down that direction. And things worked out in his favor. So, I mean, I feel like if anything, the thing that would probably help them out the most is pay attention to the audience's reaction. I feel like that
Yeah.
should be common sense given how you're the top wrestling company in the world. And this goes for Tony Khan as well. Outside of like dream match after dream match, try to read the room a little bit when it comes to, oh, hey, maybe we should do this week and see how it goes. Test the waters. If it doesn't work, okay, you tried, didn't really work out, just move on, because that's the whole point. You just got to make sure that when you head into these shows on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or a Friday, Thursday, whatever the case may be, you got to make sure that you know what you're doing so things just feel more organic. Like organic's the best thing. Like, when people get those organic feels to him, like LA Knight, he got that organic feel. He got over himself. He didn't need to get pushed and be up against all these main eventers to get to the spot that he needs to be in. And same with people like Cody Rhodes had to leave and rebuild himself to actually feel like people should care for him. Like, look at the work ethic of a lot of these superstars. Mufasa Ali, he was on NXT a little bit ago. He was a very underrated talent. He was a very good
He's a
wrestler.
great one.
He's very charismatic and everything. He has his whole stick right now that he's doing in TNA. Got that opportunity to shine again against Ethan Page for the North American Championship.
Great
lot of-
promo, by the way.
A lot of people were blown away by that match quality itself because they know how good both of those competitors are. And it just goes to show, it's like, okay, you got a strong babyface here. You got an upcoming heel like Ethan Page. You're seeing the kind of work that he's doing in NXT. Take advantage of that. Don't be afraid to take risks on the main roster whenever these people come up, or if it's in other companies. If you see what they're doing, do a little bit more. Like I'll even get a shout to like Harley Cameron as well. Like she has her thing going on. She's very charismatic and everything. If you really want to take her and try to mold her to be something truly special, you could really do that, because a lot of people were with her when she was heading into Australia and when she was going up against Mercedes for that TBS championship. Did I expect her to win? No, but you could have told a story for her to actually maybe find that ladder again and maybe actually propel herself to where she needs to be. Like there's just a lot of easy routes to go down. It just seems like to all these wrestling companies at some point, it just seems like they're just dead set on either simplistic things or they are just too lazy to do anything. It's just unfortunate because it's like it's so easy. Just read the room. I mean, it's no different when you're making movies or TV shows or video games, whatever, you listen to the audience's reception. If something's bad, you look into it, see how you can fix it. If it's like bugs in a video game, whatever the case may be, just read the room. It's just a simple solution that you could fix all of these problems. That's just one thing for sure that a lot of people could benefit.
Agree. It's gonna be interesting moving forward of how the next 8 weeks of the year ends.
I don't know if my Discord's working. Okay, there we go.
I can hear your voice.
Maybe. Okay. I don't know. Everything's choppy. I don't know. Use your talent. That's all I gotta say. Just use the talent that you have, please. You've got the tools. Just do it. Should be that hard.
Nope, should not be hard at all. But with that said, guys, do you have any other things you want to shed some light with, or do you want to just transition, hop into the car, and we could make our way to the Upside Down?
Yes, with that being said, I think we're good to head to the way upside down because we already heard some technical difficulties ending our show. So we hopefully Whawkins is good in the other realm of the dimension. Hopefully he's not getting eaten by the Demogorgons and by the monsters out here. If you guys don't know, we're about to watch the season 3 finale of Stranger Things on the Discord. So if you guys want, join the community down below. Because like I said, this is already at the outro, the end of our show of Grappling the Week episode 33. Like you heard from our predictions, our Turnkbuckle Tidbits, and you heard as well our thoughts on the current pro wrestling on the booking. We gave some examples. If we left off some examples, chat, please let us know in the comment section down below what some other wrestlers from WWE or AEW did we miss to mention that should get better booking. Some wrestlers that left the company because they got released of bad luck because the company was wrong for sure. Have anybody has any last thoughts before I give the full plugs and outro before we head out? Whawkins, I know you're a bit in the other dimension. You got some words to say? All right, with those words being said, great words. I know, great solid. Drop, you got any also some hot fire to spit to us real quick?
All I'll say here is I had a good discussion tonight when it comes to the big topic we had when it comes to how talent are utilized in wrestling, and it was good to just give our thoughts on Saturday night's main event. So all in all, I mean, I feel like we definitely did express a lot of things here. It was a very heavy episode and discussion. So
yes, chat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the discussion of the pro wrestling currently booking. But with that being said, check out our Discord community down below and where to find us in the Anime Studio Discord. We have discussion for anime, manga, wrestling, and everything entertainment for TV threads for each discussion, like Stranger Things or what we're about to watch after the show. So we appreciate you guys checking us out. We also have the Twitter and the TikTok, the IG content's going out there every week, every day for the social media. So go check that out with the Weebs of the Ring as well. We appreciate the support. Like the stream, and also guys follow our social media of our personal Legendary Vash, Drop This Box, and Whawkins World Champion, and as well check out the personal content creation that we make from Drop This Box as well. All the links are down below where to find us, our personal analyst, letterbox, gaming. You guys could see it down below. We appreciate you guys checking us out. So without further ado, you guys already heard the plugs. You guys already heard the outro time. Thank you for listening to Grappling with the Week. Before we head out, as always, be sure to follow the social media. Like your boy Vash said, we're known as Weebs of the Ring on all platforms. Be sure to also use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring to interact with us, tweet us, tag us. We will not be offended during or after all the shows. Feedback is always appreciated as we are nothing without you tuning in. Grappling the Week was presented by Anime Studio. Thank you for the production team as ourselves for all the hard work. Thank you for joining us on this episode 33. Shout out to all the stews, the people on the working industry for helping with the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. We'll see you in the Upside Down.
Have a good one, guys.
Or maybe the Hellfire's Club.
I have to wait a little bit for